Hello everyone and welcome to a 16 by 20 acrylic painting, and this is going to be in our summer campfire. I can't remember what the series of paintings that we're calling this is, but it might be our last one. I'm not sure. I am a little bit concerned on how well these are going to photograph. And between that and just, various life stuff, we've been a bit stalled lately. But this is the reference photo that we're going to be using for this piece. All the reference photos are available for you to look at on the Discord. Going to change around the composition a little bit here. Hello, Mocat. How you doing? Yeah, change the composition. I really like the color theme and how the fire glow on the horizon there is the same colors that are used in the fire that is center. I'm doing well, but life is busy. We thought for a second there that that we were gonna have to move out of state. And it was so much research and busyness, and I actually started cleaning out cupboards and getting rid of things, and it turns out we are gonna stay here, but we are almost part of the mass exodus out of California. So that took up a lot of time and resources from my last 2 weeks. It was wild, but we're staying here at least until my parents retire. So, because ultimately we just couldn't, you just don't know how long you have with people, you never know. Anything can happen, and it would just couldn't take the kid away from the grandparents. But they are interested in moving. The wildfires are getting kind of intense. The forest is really dry. It's kind of concerning. I mean, those fires got close enough to us last year to where we all evacuated out of here. All of us. We're living at a campground for a month. So, but they're trying to, California's trying to recall their governor, and we'll see if that happens. And then, if the replacement is any better for the state, because there's just some overwhelming problems that are a little scary. But here's to hoping that we have a school year over here. That's what I'm really excited about. Really need that for my child. He's, gonna be 6 in the beginning of October, and he's never hung out with a group of his peers, never more than one person. And that needs to be a thing. That needs to be a thing. Okay, so I have put titanium white, cadmium yellow deep. This is called magenta, but I don't know what pink that is. It looks like a cool pink. And then cerulean blue on my palette here. And I didn't get paper towels. I'm gonna need those. And what we're going to do is we're going to do a distant sunset. And I'm going to use this bouncy flat brush here. Pull that reference image back up. Mist down our media board with water, just water. And I think I'm going to start with the darker colors and work my way to the lighter colors. Question, question. Maybe not. Oh no. Maybe I'll start at the horizon line, because then I won't get stuck. Horizon line is going to be... It can't be at half, because I don't want to chop my painting in half. It's got to be like here. I'm going to start with the cadmium yellow, and then I'm going to blend it into a white a little bit above it. That's bouncing my face cam so much. And from the white, we're going to go into a melon pink. Whoops. Get my finger in there. Oh, look at that. That's like... I know what color that is. Reminds me of like a cosmetic color from Mary Kay circa 1995. Mary Kay was like that door-to-door cosmetic company that people would work for. They had like the pink cars and stuff that if you sold enough Mary Kay products, you got to like drive a pink, was it a Cadillac? I think it was. My aunt and my grandmother were way into that stuff. Okay, I'm gonna grab a clean brush and just dab it in the water, grab some white, and kind of work on this blend right here. Now I'm gonna blend up and I'm gonna blend down. I'm just gonna return to the middle and then go laterally. Horizontal brush strokes. That looks pretty good. Cool. Okay. I'm gonna put that brush aside and go back to my original one. Whoops. And this is where this pink starts to go blue a little bit. want to go quickly when working this blend. I took the brush, I cleaned it off in the water, and then I am just trying to make one continuous brush stroke all the way across because I'm not a big fan of those vertical lines on blends like this. So now I'm taking the cerulean blue and I'm mixing it into some pink. Hopefully with a cool pink like that, we're going to get a nice purple, which is what's happening. But I almost feel like we're gonna need to whip out some black because I don't want to get more saturated up there. If anything, this is plenty saturated or even too saturated. And I've had this thought the last couple minutes, like, whoa, these colors are really something. Added a little bit of yellow and white to the purple. This is going to be a transition that I'm going to have to remix possibly. Getting a little bit of bowing at the top here. Well, I should have moved my my board up a bit, my backer board, to this position, but it's been a while since I did a vertical piece on the wet media board. That might take some dry brush blending. Right in here, we'll see if you want to get there. Grade that out quite a bit. Now that I'm to that point right there, I'm gonna rinse out this brush pretty well, blend in the black that I have going on right there. Okay, now we're back to this purple meets pink line that we need to address. Because that is just like way too big a transition. So we're gonna mute the pink with gray. We're just gonna use the purple gray to mute it. And then we're gonna add some white. So there's the purple gray that we were using that consists of just black, cerulean blue, white, and a touch of yellow. All the colors. More white, more white. That seems like more like a transition color. There we go. Water. It's okay if we get some streaks in the sky now because it's gonna it's gonna read more like clouds than anything else. Kind of pretty to have a little bit of that color up there. All right, now we're gonna transition this color to be lighter. So I have it on my little mini palette here. I'm gonna add more white to this also. Turns out I'm adding a lot more titanium white to my hand as well. And more water. Try to get those long brush strokes going on. Okay, now I see that I need more yellow as I come down here into this color. Maybe not that much yellow. Just kind of adjust. It's a pretty small palette for everything that's going on it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to slap that down. And that is nor the color that is above it or below it. So I'm going to, as quickly as possible, rinse that brush out or grab another one that's similar, and I'm going to blend the bottom with water now that that underpainting is pretty well dry, and then I'm going to blend the top with a clean brush and water, and try to make sure those strokes overlap the ends of your canvas, panel, or board. I've changed waters to make sure that it stays kind of clean and there's no gray in there as I'm moving down towards this whiter area. All right, here we go. This is a really strong color that I'm gonna kind of mute a little bit towards the edges. Because the sun, if the sun is right in the middle, then I think that we can kind of fade that out a little bit. I'm gonna grab my filbert brush that I use for backgrounds a bunch. I'm gonna add a little bit of water, otherwise it's a totally clean brush, and I'm just gonna blend the edges. More clean water, and blend the edge there, and blend it down. Okay, cool. Add a little bit of white to the middle to kind of imply that there is a sun back here in the middle. I'm gonna start blending from the bottom way below where I need to, and then just pull that very transparent titanium white up. So the brush has quite a bit of white in it. I'm gonna do that again. Just dabbed it on the end of the brush. Start way below where we need it. And just be careful because this is not set yet. Make sure you don't get any hard lines that you don't want to. But you know, if something happens that you don't like, this is so far in the background, I mean, chances are, don't fret too much about it because it could just get covered up by some foreground trees, because that's kind of where we're going next. So right now, we're going to be doing a gray mixture. So it's a mixture of everything. So the yellow that used to be in the middle, I'm kind of drawing some black up into it to make this sunset gray color, if you will. And this is going to be the color that we paint in our background mountains. They are not black, nor do you want to make them black. You want them to be some kind of gray, because the foreground trees are going to be, they're going to be black. Add just a touch more white, purple, yellow, so that I'll lighten it up just a bit more. Okay, making sure I don't get any of those weird lines there. Now, in the reference photo, it looks like there is a lake happening. So I'm going to try to blend this so that we can get a layer of trees. Gonna get that pretty firm flat that we've been using a lot more lately. And we're gonna use the same gray color, except add a little bit more black. It needs to set apart, not dramatically, but it needs to set apart from these mountains here. So this is gonna be a lake in front of this. Doesn't need to be an amazingly straight line or anything. I'm gonna bring that tree line down a little bit, and then back up. Gonna mix a bit more of that. It doesn't need to be terribly accurate. There's a little bit of diversity in the colors. I don't think it's gonna matter too much, because it's just going to represent trees that are either a little bit closer or a little bit further. from our vantage here. If anything, you can just take the different mixes that you make and kind of disperse them. Who knows what's going to happen over here? Okay. We got some trees. Now what we're going to do is this water that's in front of this little tree line is going to reflect some sky color. So we still got plenty of that on our little mini palette here. Doesn't need to be like dramatic. Try to rinse that brush out. You don't get too much gray. Reflections are just a tad bit more saturated and darker. A tad. Just gonna put a little bit more cadmium yellow deep. It's kind of a powerful color though, so just gonna be careful. And make sure those brush strokes are really long. I think after I get these grays and purples and kind of yellow colors into this lake body, I'm gonna maybe put like a little flash of pink in, and then put some gray over the top. Here. Okay. Bringing in more gray and adding water. Want a little bit of a highlight in the back middle. See if I can do it. I got a really soft round brush. I'm going to rinse that out and blend the bottom. Okay, I might bring the purple down just a little bit. I don't know if I'm going to need it. I might just paint over it. It's just in case. I'm thinking I'm going to end up painting over it. Okie dokie. Now, we're going to put the mid-ground in. Or are we? Should probably handle any kind of like stars if I'm going to put them in at all. I could always put them in by hand instead of splattering them, or mask off an area. I could just mask off an area. Okay, we don't have to do that yet. Not until foreground trees. Which is coming up. It is. So, maybe that is something we should do right now. Okay. Stay there. I think that'll probably be fine. Okay. And if I wanted it to come down a bit, I can just put them in my hands. But, you know, I don't think I'm gonna have to do too much of that because that is the far background. I know that's getting that part of the painting is receiving a bit of glare. What can we do about glare? Almost like you cannot defeat all of it. So this is bowed a bit bowed. A scotch better. Hello, Nerdiest King. How are you doing? Okay, mid-ground trees. I am doing well. I had a out-of-state move scare this last 2 weeks and was kind of like scrambling to research, do stuff, blah, 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 blah. And ultimately, we decided that we have to stay. That, like, it's effort if we move, it's effort if we stay. We're deciding to stay since we cannot take our parents with us. They're not retired yet. So, like a couple more years on that. We'll see what happens to the real estate market. We'll see what happens with California. Who knows? Everything's up in the air. But that was very, very occupied my whole everything. But I'm doing good now. And hopefully we're just going to replace our unit. That'd be nice. Because we do need a bigger place. We are like squished in here, man. So we'll see. We'll see about that. How are you doing? How is every little thing? This is going to be that purple gray again, but just a little bit more black. Guess there's going to be some trees and bushes and stuff right here. Oof, I don't know. So I'm just going to feel it out. Ooh, you donated plasma today. Relaxing, recouping. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. How long does that typically take to do that? $102. Oof. Yeah, unless you're like in the water, in the shade in the water. Yeah, that's really intense. Here it's very nice, but I can tell by the amount of fog that was outside this morning. Like whenever it's that foggy in July and August, it is really flippin' hot inland. So I know that's what that means. You donate twice a week? Wow. That's really frequent. Do you have one of those rare blood types, or I guess that's a personal medical question. You do not need to answer that. Well, nobody ever needs to answer anything, right? That's very good of you to do that. I don't think I have any kind of like a special blood type. Who? I'm sure it's written down somewhere. I don't know. Takes 90 minutes. You just like helping people? It's right on. Yeah. Oh, that's fantastic. These bushes in here are kind of vague, but... Oh, new donations take 2 to 3 hours, but you've got like a streamlined process going. Screening. Interesting. 54 minutes. Right on. So is screening like... Is that like a health quiz? They already know you, so it doesn't matter too much or as much? Oh, okay. Yeah. I could totally get that. They don't want to put anybody under stress. Kinda need to adjust to that kind of thing, I would imagine. Possibly. "24 questions, sign in." Oh, any new tattoos? Yeah. Medical issues? Yeah. Hydration levels? Iron, protein levels. Blood pressure, temperature? Good, good. Yeah, all good things. It's been a while since I've done it because it was kind of a lot for me when I did it, and I was like, ooh. I don't know if they would, yeah, I don't even know if I would be eligible or not. Do they take people that have autoimmune disease? I don't know. I have not looked into it. Confidence killer. All right, these are our mid-ground trees. They're not coming up very far because they're basically the same value as like these far background trees, but there's going to be another layer on top. So when the new people try and it doesn't work, they lose confidence in their sticking. so hence the nickname. Oh, okay. I get it. Well, you know what, though? The last time I gave blood, I think I was doing like the vegetarian thing, and that probably didn't help. You have deep veins, but they feel shallow from what you're told. Oh. Yeah, I have the worst veins ever. Like, everybody that ever gives me anything intravenously is like, wow, you have the hardest veins to get into of anybody I've ever experienced. I'm like, oh good, I wanted to get stabbed 8 times. This is gonna be fun. Like every single time. And it's just like, they're not even, I don't know if you can see this, but oh, maybe. See that? You see that or not see that, which is the whole point. There's a vein, kinda. I can barely even see it. Kinda there, but not really. Yeah. I mean, I've had people just like look at me and be like, hold on, I gotta call somebody in. I'm like, oh, whatever you need to do. Needed to make more of this color here. Trying to get some variation in these bushy, tree-y deals right here. I don't know if this is even, this might even get covered up all the way. I'm not sure yet. You get adjustments a lot? Don't worry, I'm used to getting poked over and over again. Yep, part of the deal. I kind of like how that, between the mountain up here being higher and then this kind of tree line being higher, it kind of pulls you in this way. So that means we'll put our bigger trees on this side, on the foreground ones. The bigger trees will be on the left side and then the smaller ones will be on the right side, is what that's gonna mean. Hi! I can see my YouTube comments now, which is very helpful. Some of these are going to kind of disappear. But it's not going to matter, because there's something that's going on top of them. The grays that I'm mixing for these mid-ground trees have kind of varied a bit each time I remix it. Kind of changes a little bit, and that's fine as long as I drag it into the other areas of the painting. Doesn't matter too much. You're here from the Twitter article. Well, welcome. You like the mystery of the disappearing line? Ricky's painting style. Ricky... Ooh, I'm not familiar. If there was, I don't know anything about it, so that's kind of fun. So I missed yesterday's stream. I may be streaming tomorrow, late morning Pacific time, as a result, as well as doing the podcast for tomorrow. Tomorrow evening would be the 2-hour podcast. But that is digital painting. The Twitter article is bashing the stolen painting style. I'm not sure if you can steal a painting style, can you? Does he like use the same? I don't even know who this person is. Do they use... Like now I'm like wildly curious. Now I'm wildly curious. I've only taken a couple of painting classes, and I never fully adapted anybody's style from either of those. And I'll tell you who. I really like, or I used to really like, Tim Gagnon's work. I used to dig that, and then I kind of like went away from that probably like 15 years ago. I went away from that, kind of did my own thing, and then more recently I took the Jim Dorsey Acrylic University like online painting classes. It's a really good deal. You can get in there and you can learn just a heap of stuff. It's like going to an art college at home, right? And they have great videos, great instructors. And I ultimately, like, I did take away a lot of things that I liked from those classes, mostly including like underpainting, composition, and then complementary colors, color composition, using more vivid colors, being a little bit more bold with brush strokes, kind of loosening up. I chose to only do that like on the periphery of my paintings. But other than that, I didn't dig the rest of his style. So those have been my influence as of recently. I haven't really been doing much other like YouTubing. It's just been a process. I think in the last 3 years, I've painted possibly over 300 paintings, and that's the journey that I've been on. Ricky's than Tim's? It's interesting. So, I mean, there's so many painters and so many ways of doing things in the world that it is possible that multiple people could have taken a similar journey and arrived at a similar conclusion, right? I've only been using this brush for maybe like a month or so. But yeah. So now I'm kind of blending. Back and forth, making sure that the colors are present on the right side of the midground trees and the left, just all throughout, because there's like, it may not be visible on stream, but there are subtle transitions between blues and purple throughout these guys. And I did not do an underpainting for this one, but I tell you what, this is the end of this series of paintings, and then in the next series of paintings, I'm going to be doing some bigger skies. I'm going to be experimenting with some more like magenta underpaintings, kind of like what Aaron Hansen does. And then there's another guy that I really enjoy his work. His name is Robin, and he's a Pacific Northwest painter, and he uses a lot of like hot magenta underpaintings and orange. And I just think that is so cool. And if I could figure out a way to make myself happy with that, that it could add some punch. I'm not familiar with the Ram Ranch video. I'm so, you know what? If you would do me like a huge favor to link that anywhere, because I'm super curious, because you know, any publicity is good publicity, or you know, because I'm not like wildly popular. There's not like hundreds of people watching right now or anything. I'm a commercial artist who is transitioning to fine artist. But the bouncy strokes, I'd love to see somebody else do that. Oh yeah, no, well, yeah, of course, don't believe everything you read, but also read as much as you can, because it's interesting to see just what everybody thinks, which is ultimately learning, right? Okay, so now we've brought these lines down in this direction, so I'm going to put some taller foreground trees here, and they're going to be darker because they have to stand out from the background, right? So it's going to be almost completely black. And then also this area, you know, it doesn't need to be pitch black because it doesn't need to stand out from anything. I may add some purple down here just for color balance. In the reference photo, you know, there's some trees that they're okay. I'm going to change all of that completely. I mean, we're just using it for reference, right? Just for like a hint of what would happen in the real world. It's not the rule unless you're like, you know, painting a specific landmark. So I'm probably going to go here. Just do it. And it's just gonna disappear like right into this area. That doesn't matter. And then our campfire. Now the photographer put it in the middle, but I don't think I'm gonna put it in the middle. Let's see, let's just get the trees done and then we'll make a decision at that point. Thank you. Well, welcome. Whatever brought you, welcome. And I think that's super interesting. I'm gonna need a lot more black paint. I kind of switched over to a liquid acrylic for black lately because I always end up adding a ton of water to my black paint, and it's pretty much already halfway there, and there's just so much pigment that I don't have to worry about it too much. Actually never had a black paint, expensive or not, that is not opaque enough. This tree is just going to go right up out of the painting. This is going to be our tallest tree. And we could always thicken up the trunk at some point. It's not a big deal. Don't want to get too opaque there. Gotta keep it kind of loose. Especially at the tips. You know, there was a paintbrush that I was using quite a bit, especially for like middle-sized or bigger pine trees, and it was a round brush instead of a flat. And it kind of gave me some subtle needles. Let me grab that right now. I might just check that out. It's a soft watercolor wash brush. Let's see. There it is. I think the boys are home. It's this guy. Let's try that out. I think I do like the tips a little bit better. I'm gonna just kind of flay it out. Gives a better illusion. Glad this board kind of let go of its warping nature there as it dried, which is what I was hoping for. Yes, that's kind of the theme of this series, is kind of to give you that camping summer vibe, and we are going to be adding a campfire, a very controlled campfire. I'm thinking off center, probably like here in the foreground, and it's going to pull some colors down from our fading sunset, and that'll be nice. Bring this branch out a bit more. Might put another tree in right here. Probably starting about here. Always make it a bit taller. Let's see. There we go, right in that spot. I didn't like how the horizon line was leading your eye off of the painting. So by breaking that line up, we're taking that away. And by adding this darkness here, it's kind of framing the area that we want to look at. A little bit of color peeking through. Okay, so these trees are going to be shorter by a good margin. Top being like about here. And I'm just going to use the edge of the board to steady my hand as I come down here. Oof. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Painting with Sam. How are you doing today? I'm doing pretty good. Beautiful day outside. Gonna get out there after this. And I'm thinking probably finish this painting up tomorrow morning, and that's exciting. And then I am going to, I think I'm leaning towards being done with this series of paintings. This is so hard to photograph. And I'm really excited about the next things to come. So, but we'll see. We'll see. I'll waffle on it tonight. I'll decide tomorrow when we finish this one up. Because I don't think we're quite going to get done today. This did just get started not too long ago today. What have you been working on lately? This is like a skinny pine tree. Your trees are iffy? Oh, you love my trees? Thank you. I'm using a point brush to paint trees today, so. You're working on a moose? For a friend. How big is it? How big is it? Moose are cool. Moose are one of those things where I think they look so cool, and then I draw one and I'm like, what's with the face? Did I just not notice the face until I was up close? with it, you know? Like, I think it's the horns that are really attractive. A decent size. Kind of have to go big on those moose paintings or drawings. Break up that horizon line again right there, just conveniently cover it with the branch. Is it the funny body shape? Yeah, because they kind of have a humpback also, right? Don't get me wrong, I like them. I think they're really cool, and I think anything that has a moose on it is also really cool. Like, I'm just a big fan. But then I've drawn them for a couple promotions. Like, you know, Christmas stuff, like a moose with a scarf. And I always wonder, like, did I do something wrong? No, it looks, everything checks out. The proportions are all right. He's just kind of a funny looking guy. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I feel you on that. Make it far away. This is, so I was inspired to paint, and while this does look like a lot of places I have been, it really does, and it gives me that, that exact feeling. Kind of, it could be Tahoe, could be any one of these California lakes, or not even a California lake. It could be like anywhere where there's pine or cedar trees and a sky, honestly. But it does give me the Northern California lake vibe. And I just wanted to do some like campfire paintings for summer that's like on season, the camping season. And I found a couple shots that I thought were interesting for one reason or another, and I'm kind of just vaguely using them as reference. Kind of more of a vibe rather than a rule. And those are in the Discord if you're interested. There's a whole bunch of cool images of just like campfires. All right, this is where this one kind of just gets lost down in here. I think one more. Taller than this one though. So maybe like here. And I like to go from the top to the bottom because it is easier to make one taller, but you can't make it shorter after you start it. So while putting in a trunk first is a nice way to keep track of like a composition and the height everything is going to be, it is kind of cool to do it like this also. You just want to make sure that not too many branches are exactly perpendicular to each other, otherwise it doesn't look like natural. It looks like one of those tree cell phone towers, where the branches are like perpendicular and even and a little bit bizarre. You're like, that doesn't look right, but I don't know why. I think that's why. Make sure that there's some light showing through, but definitely not where the trunk would be. All right, where were we? As acrylic paint dries, you kind of have to go back and make sure that everything is the right opacity. I am using, the more water you add to your paint, the more bristle control you're gonna have. So in order to get these little tips nice and bristly, to look kind of like pine needles, right? I am adding a bit of water to the paint, so that just means that I'm gonna have to like look at it when it's dried and go back over a couple places, but you know what? It's worth it. And I'm out of black on that note also. So I like that there's like 3 main tree shapes. This one's kind of minor. It kind of transitions into the side and the background there. So I don't really see that as much. Either that or, you know, I could add, well, I don't know if I'm going to add something there. But with all the overlap, it doesn't really I don't see more than 3 big tree shapes, so that's good. Oh, I did get one tiny, tiny little fleck of black paint right there. Boo! That's okay, I'll just put a star right over it. No biggie. Now I'm back down in this area. Okay, I'm going to switch back to the bigger flat brush, the bouncy Jed Dorsey brush. I'm going to add some purple, the purple that we mixed earlier, which is the magenta and cerulean blue. And I'm going to add it to this area. Not for the sake of reality, but for the sake of interest. And let's see, where is this fire gonna live? At the bottom of that board down there. There we go. Could always blend some more after that dries. I'm gonna need to double check and see where we're at with that. Okay. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna put this off center. I think. Like possibly here. Okay. I want to use the vibrancy of the paper underneath. This is a general flame shape, our fire form, our flame composition that we're gonna do. Whatever you want to call it. I do enjoy how a lot of these have like sparks kind of flying up into the sky. This one, not so much. Not, at least not in the reference, but we're going to add some. Just a couple. I think they'll get lost in the what's happening back here. Now we can just paint the heck out of that area. But I do want to add some like purple and blue. Maybe we're going to use some Prussian blue. We haven't used that yet. But it adds some serious depth of color, that's for sure. And here's that weird magenta. I wouldn't call this magenta. This is a cool pink. But the brand is kind of funny, so they can do whatever they want. Oh yeah, Prussian blue. It's like my new favorite, or at least this month. I'm gonna add the glow of the fire after all of this darkness is dry, because I can just dilute those colors pretty easily and then paint them over. A little bit more purple towards the center. When I say towards the center, I mean towards the flames, not towards the center. So we ended up putting that a little bit off center, and we'll do something about that composition if it feels weird later. Now that we've got all the elements in there. Great thing about these vague tree lines is you can kind of modify them a bit. Oh, hi, Jess. Welcome, Raiders. Welcome. Hi, Jess Raid. Hi. And thank you so much for the follow. Welcome to anybody who is new, who hasn't stopped in here before. I do traditional acrylic paintings. Right now we're working our way through a 16 by 20 like campfire in front of a fading sunset. So it's giving us heavy camping vibes, which is nice for July when people are out doing that or want to be out doing that. I'm gonna be camping first week of August and I'm looking forward to it. But thank you so much. And Jess, what were you working on today? And how are you? How was your stream? Thank you. Thank you so much. You were also painting with acrylics. Fantastic. Bob Ross Wednesday. Oh man, I had like a weird amount of time at the end of my last stream, and I did a Bob Ross painting, but in acrylics, on a piece of wood, just a random piece of wood. And then I put it outside the front of my house with a little free sign, and it, somebody wanted it. So that's nice. I'm glad that it can brighten up somebody's yard. But it was a snow scene, so I don't know. You liked the wood? I'm glad. I'm glad you liked the wood. I was kind of questioning it. I was like, I don't know. This wood is making me paint a lot darker than I would usually. Oh, cool. An acrylic edition of a Bob Ross paint along. Yeah, isn't it funny when you run into a part of your painting where you're like, oh, wow, clearly he's using oils. Like, there has to be an adaptation for sure. But most of the stuff applies, like translates right over. Especially like the brushes. And he paints so quickly, he's like just painting wet on wet. But all his layers are really thin, so that kind of translates too. Your goal is to tailor his technique to work for acrylics. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I totally get that. I just, you know what? I'm gonna be honest. I'm not a big fan of fan brushes. Oh my god, 5.5 hours and it's the size of a postcard. Wow, that's intense. Yes, please. There is a Discord server. Everybody is welcome to join. The information should be down below. And there's an art share on there if you would like. Suggestions, all kinds of things. There's all kinds of things on there. So patient with you. Yeah, that's great. Every once in a while, I'll mention something I'm doing as being kind of like a Bob Ross painting technique, but since acrylics handle just so much different than oils, it would be funny if you went ahead and did like, it's challenging to do it in like a half hour or whatever. Didn't he do his tutorials in like 28 minutes or something absurd like that, like really quickly? But he would design his painting, then he would paint it, and then before the show, and then he would paint it during the show, and then he would paint it again after the show based on what he learned throughout those 2 other like painting sessions. So I mean, like, talk about practice. Rehearsing your painting before probably helped immensely. I'm out of black paint again. Open up my side door. I'll be back. Okay, let's see. Let's kind of sit back here and look at what's going on. Half an hour. And his paintings were not small. I can't remember what size they are. They were either a 20 by 24 or a 16 by... No, they had to be bigger than a 16 by 20 because I'm on a 16 by 20 right now. His paintings had to be like a 24 by 20. There's a trivia question I do not know. How big did Bob Ross paint for his show? And then his brushes were kind of substantial too, which is easier to film like further away, right? Because I mean, when he was using the brush banger, that thing was like, it was huge. That is a great art trivia question, you know, because there's a lot of people that watch Bob that may have never occurred to them. Like, God, he is painting a big painting for 28 minutes, which takes a lot of paint. And I mean, his palette was like as big as my whole deal right here. Substantial. You need help? Yeah? I'll be right back. Good stuff. Yeah. Oh, okay. I'll help you. It's okay. You can ask for help. Yeah. That's okay. Do you want some hoops? Okay, let's do this. Oh yeah. Good idea. Wanna watch the show while you wait? Not for you anymore. Not. I watch Wall-E or Hyper Ralph. Roots. Toy Story? Everybody, here you go. Oh, door's still open. Man, a lot going on. You love my hair? Thank you. Yes, Young child needs help with something. School starts August 11th. All right, where were we? We were looking at the composition, at the balance, right? So we moved the fire off center, which makes a little bit of a void here. Although I do like how that comes down. I mean, I could always scooch it over a little bit. Yeah, I could always scooch it back over. Let me show you the reference photo that I'm working off of and kind of like the vibe that I was going for. Now, their fire is dead center, a little bit higher in the composition, and that's all fixable right now too. So see, their fire is it's higher, which I totally agree with. And then it comes up, it occupies like this space here. So why don't we go ahead and do that? Because I feel like that's what works about this. Move it up, move it back into the center, and bring these trees up a little bit. So this lake is more like a peekaboo lake, as it is in this composition. You like where it is? Mm-hmm. You'd add on to the left. Yeah, I know. I do feel like there needs to be more going on the left. At this time, original conception, the fire was going to be the main focal point, like dead center. And so if it occupied like the exact space where my hand is, well, smaller than that, maybe like that, I would bring these trees up a bit so that it had contrast, and then brought it a little bit further from the bottom of the composition. Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think campy area, cute. I'm not sure. Not sure, but I do want to bring it up a bit because I feel like it's too far down, because I am going to add some glow onto the area around it, like the rocks and sticks and things. So I need a little bit more space for that. I'm going to bring that up. More black paint. It's true. It's true. Tree trunk bench. Little bit of, I mean, because only the front of the tent would be lit. That is true. Yeah, I like it. Definitely has to come up. I feel like it has to come up a bit. Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally agree. And sometimes, especially if you don't do like a little layout comp, kind of just have to adjust things. Goodbye. Although I do like the fire form that we had there. That's okay. We could bring it back. Do not be alarmed. A little bit of purple in there. I'm gonna wait for this to dry before we paint the white in. And just like that, it was gone. I do have to add to the trees to bring the fire up, and that's okay because I think the lake will still have impact even if we bring some trees up. Yeah, it's okay, it'll be back. Just to give you kind of like an idea of what was happening here. This is the last painting that we did. I did. And it is in cellophane, so it's kind of like got some, it's reflective, but you can kind of see it's under plastic. Yeah, this is what we did last time. And so there's kind of like the vibe here is there's like a giant group campsite back there. They're having like, I don't know, like Boy Scouts or Girl Scouts like camp out back there, and it's like a big old thing. It's a big party, right? And I like the the sky, the space kind of showing through. And then the one previous to that, I think is quite pretty. And it's this one. So it has that glow that we were talking about beneath the fire and on the sides. I do like the composition of this one quite a bit. And it has a lake in it as well. This one I like. This one's like the star of the show so far. And it has like, you know, the Milky Way galaxy. And this one's called Sparks into Stars because the sparks from the campfire kind of go up into the Milky Way, which is cool. Then I think... yeah, that, but besides just doing a, this is just a study on painting flames. But there ended up being animals in here. So there's like a fox, a crane, and like a fish. Just experimenting with like acrylic paint and flame forms and like what order to put the paint down is a big deal. Because I felt like I had to cut in with black paint after putting some gradients down. Yeah, Bob Ross never did fire, did he? He was kind of a peaceful, low-key guy, though. Fire is kind of like he did little smoke coming out of chimneys, but not flames, right? Bob? Yes. Bob's no longer with us. Yeah. There is a whole bunch of people that manage his image. Bill. They're actual people with jobs that revolve around maintaining his image and like keeping his work safe. It's all in an office somewhere in like middle America. There's a documentary on YouTube if you're interested on checking that out. I thought it was really interesting to watch. Like an hour. Yes, he did. I'm sorry. Oh. Huh. I don't know. Yeah. It was like, yeah, it was fun. It was fun to watch. I mean, it's especially more interesting now that it's like this big, almost like Bob Ross culture, which ultimately is a great thing because he was so chill. Just the whole aura of painting with joy and stuff like that. I had a little Bob Ross like flip calendar thing with his sayings, and I think it may have fallen behind my desk. Otherwise, I would whip it out. Yes. Yeah, I think wildly popular in the US for sure. Season 3, episode Campfire. Now we know. So I'm gonna bulk up the trees. Not with that brush. Yeah, just like at the time, maybe they didn't think it was very popular. I wonder about that. I've never looked into it. Like, I know he's wildly popular now, and that's just the plight of the artist, right? But was he wildly popular when it was like on TV? I don't know. Yeah, because I don't remember him being wildly popular when it was actually happening. But then I was like a kid, too. I'm gonna need more blue. I think these trees I did with a flat brush. He was with the older demographic. Yeah, I think I was like, you know, watching... Oh shoot, I don't even know. I don't know what I was watching. My dad had it on like TNT all the time. Now I remember watching Mr. Rogers, and he was definitely the Mr. Rogers of painting, yes, for sure. I think I pretty much nailed this color, so I'm just gonna go for it. So if we're gonna make the fire in the middle and we're gonna bring it up considerably, then we have to raise these guys a bit. I feel like there needs to be a little bit more purple, and I'm running out of that on my palette, so I'm gonna add more. I remember Mr. Rogers and like Reading Rainbow in that era. You were gonna do a sun in a sky one time. Oh no. You know, you can't ask other people. You can't, especially if like you're unsure even a little bit. Like sometimes it's like you just never know. Sometimes you'll be really stoked on something and you're like, look, and somebody will be like, oh, cool, is that a blah blah blah? And you're like, no. And then other times you'll hate something and you're like, ah, this was a failure, what the heck? And people will freaking dig it. And it's completely all over the place. Like, I certainly can't figure it out. Nailed it. Maybe the sun is the head of a giant monster. I want to bring it too much further up than that. Reading Rainbow. Oh god. So, I'm not one of those people that goes back and watches shows, but like if I think about it, the theme song of Reading Rainbow, like most of us should be able to kind of recall a little bit of it, right? It's like I remember a slow part of the song where the lady is like really singing. What is it like? I can go anywhere. Take a look. It's in a book. It's Reading Rainbow or something like that. Butterfly. Oh, butterfly in the sky. Yeah, that's right. I can be anything. Okay, yeah. My brain's working so hard right now. There's like steam coming out of the sides. Monster heads in the sky. I can go twice as high. Excellent. Maybe this one will come up. I think it's gonna have to. I feel it. Feel it in my painting bones. Yeah, you have to listen. I might have to look it up later. Sun monster in the sky. It would be perfect. No matter what happens, it would be perfect. No switch brushes. Well, you know, monster is a pretty vague term. It could be dragon, Mothra type creature. Or no. Thank you. There's nothing better than somebody being really like pumped about something you really don't want to paint. You're like, ha. God, I've had that happen more than a few times where somebody's like, yeah, and then you can do this and add that thing and it would be wicked cool, and you're like, can't even visualize it. You're like, yeah. Yeah. Maybe I'll get to that. Like, I have a hard time just with my own distractions. Like, distracting myself away from what I should be doing is a real problem. So that's why I feel like series of paintings really help me out. Because if I'm doing a series of paintings, so like this year, this is what I started doing. Like, I'll get some sort of theme. Hopefully it's kind of seasonally relevant or something. And then I'll look up 10 different images, either my own or references from wherever, that I think are cool, like either the vibe or the layout or something from it is like kind of cool within that theme. And then I'll try to paint like 5 different paintings that pull from those concepts, even though they might not, like, you know, just kind of like loosely based on those reference images. And that's what I've been doing for the last like 3 or 4 series. And it helps keep me on track. Like this time I even made a little map. Where's my map? Here's my map. Oh, so apparently this series is called Evening Flames. So, I don't know what that is. So I already did the lakeside overnight. Hypnotized was the flame study, so check. And then check. And then Sparks to Stars, check. And then this one, I guess, is early evening. And so, okay, so I do have one more planned. And it's kind of going to be one of those ones where the trees are completely surrounding you, almost like a tree circle, and they're all have glowing light coming up the branches. So maybe I will do that one. And that's how structured I have to be, so I'm not just like randomly painting like, oh, a pelican. Oh, you know, maybe like some leaves. How long have I been a streamer on Twitch? Well, I have taken some breaks because of like monumental life adjustments and things like that. You know, it usually happens to people. But I have come back many times. I started streaming in maybe the beginning of 2019? I'm gonna have to look into that. I think it was the beginning of 2019 because I was streaming on Instagram before that, which is hard to do because you have to be underneath an hour, but I was doing little Bob Ross paintings on Instagram. In like, yeah, 45 minutes. 45-minute 8x10s because they have a upper limit on how long you can stream there. And then somebody's like, have you thought about streaming on Twitch? And here we are. Okay, yeah, so at least. And I think one of my first followers had to be Mocap. I think. But you know, it's kind of been a while. But yeah, there's been a couple times where I kind of switched what I was doing. This one time, you know, when the kid was like a 3-year-old, I mean, I couldn't do much with audio, so I was doing this like silent stream thing where I would talk to everybody at the beginning of the stream, and then I would do like a speed painting, and then I would check in at the end and kind of talk about the process and how it worked out and blah, blah, blah. And then there was a time where I was doing just night streaming because I literally couldn't, you know, when he's awake, he used to be kind of loud. But now that's reined in, and hopefully there's a school this year. I'll believe it when I see it. And I'm gonna start doing some more tutorials, like focus tutorials, and then also marketing them on my website. I'm doing some like higher production tutorials as well, and I'm gonna call them paint snacks, and they're gonna be cheap. Cheap and fun. And that's hopefully this fall. So at least that's what I've promised some people, is this fall. There should be a branch right in here. Maybe this would be a painting that needs birds. I don't know yet. And again, if anybody wants to share work or share what they're doing, definitely Discord. I like this a lot better. Just filling this out. That's more of a peekaboo type effect there. And you can tell those are further away. There's a little bit more diffusion over them. And then now we're free to bring that fire up, like quite a bit. And then add the rocks over it and stuff. Oh, you started crocheting a shirt. Almost done with it. Man, people that are good at that stuff can move so fast. Oh, great. I'm looking forward to seeing that. I like crochet. I gotta share this because it's funny. There's a lady that I used to work with that started a crocheting Etsy account, like her business, you know, which is great. But she called it like plant holders or something like that. It was like Naughty by Nature. Oh my. It's just funny. You're done. Oh, fantastic. I love big, chunky sweaters. I really like that one that is open in the front. Like, I would want to wear that a lot. Nice work. Love the socks. Oh, cool. Well, that saves you a lot of effort. Then you just have to find somebody to take the picture, right? Where's our reference photo? Let's check into the reference photo. Oh, see, so this will be the reference for the next painting. Kind of like just the way the light goes up the trees. That's kind of, I mean, the layout will be completely different, but something like that. And it will be a nighttime scene as well. So that'll be the last painting that we do. And I'm not sure if I'm going to go a full 16 by 20. Maybe. Where are we at here? We are here. So we'll put this like here. Yeah, that's perfect. Right there. And that's all dry, so now I can get some white paint, possibly a new palette altogether. But I think I have a wet palette with this colors on it. The colors that I need. Yeah, with the light up the trees, right? So I think that I'm gonna go ahead and do that one. And then that will be the last in this series of paintings. And then we'll do some landscapes. I don't know what the series is going to be called yet, but some landscape paintings with big skies. So like the horizon line will be at a third, like the bottom third of the painting. And I want to try out that magenta underpainting that I was talking about earlier. White paint, white paint. Titanium white. I'm gonna get a small point brush. How dry is it? Dry enough. Don't want to go too cliche with the flame shape. I don't want it to look like a tattoo or something. Da Vinci ever finger painted? Sure, why not? Although, I'll tell you what, back then, paint was really freaking toxic. And it didn't really come off very easily. But like, let's say you were illustrating with like charcoal or something, very common practice is to like get in there with your hands or whatever the heck you have to kind of like spear and move things around, right? So that makes sense. But I think the oil paint that they used back then was like a turpentine type process to get it off, right? I think there's a science experiment happening in the kitchen. Hold on. You're out with your horse? You don't have good Wi-Fi? Aw, I'm sorry. Yeah, that sucks when you start tanking. But thanks for hanging out. Oh, they did use lead, and there was lead makeup, and there was lead in the water. There's lead everywhere. You need more please, right? Okay, let's take that away. I'll look at the placement here. Yeah, I feel like if we add the glow and then add a little bit of glow to some branches that kind of come out a little bit, maybe here and there, then that'll do it. Bye, Aurora. Thank you for hanging out. Horrifying fashion trends? Oh boy. I'm sure there's no shortage of that. Right, now we need some really, really opaque painted areas and then some not so opaque. Something that I kind of learned when we were when I was doing some practice. There we go. Wow! You can dilate your eyes with belladonna? Oh my god, and that's why it's called Beautiful Woman? Holy smokes! Connecting the pieces. That's really interesting. Yeah, that stuff totally grows around here, so I know exactly what you're talking about. Arsenic was used to lighten skin complexion. Back when being pale was like a thing, yeah. Kills the red blood cells, but no big deal. Awesome. My god. Okay, now I'm gonna put cadmium yellow on this little guy. And probably cadmium red. You know, just breathe harder. Duh. Thank you, Perlo Paulo. Okay, now I'm gonna paint the glow. You know what? I'm gonna use some of that weird magenta color to do this also. Kind of to tie it in from the above there. I'm gonna use quite a bit of water because I can always build this color up, but you can't as easily take it away. All right, here we go. So The bottom of the fire pit would be kind of like here, and this is where the rocks that make it would be. Oh, I'm in like middle California. And it totally grows up in the woods. Like around here, it's got, you know, kind of oval, because it's got leaves that are kind of like of that shape, and it makes little black berries and it has little white flowers. Yeah. And I think it also grows in Europe too, right? I mean, as far as I don't know. It could be an invasive species here. That's possible, but I think it also is in Europe. But I wouldn't bet money on it. That's just like an inkling. Napa. Right on. San Francisco. Yeah, I'm not too far from though. Not too far from those, although I haven't visited any of those areas in a while. My kid hasn't been to San Francisco yet. Or anything like that. Shoot, there's so much for him to explore. He's just barely started his journey. I think we're definitely gonna make sure we get to the snow this winter. That's a must. But probably like my dream winter trip is gonna be like South Lake, I don't care, anywhere in the Tahoe area. Some sort of Airbnb cabin, take my family and maybe my folks up there, and just like have a hot tub and play in the snow for like 2-3 days. I think that'd be awesome. Looked it up? Okay. Mid-Europe and Northern Africa. Oh. And Western Asia. Okay. That makes sense. See, what is in this photo? It's so interesting. So, kind of got some random objects are lit by this fire. And this is kind of like the pink and the yellow and a little bit of the cadmium red that I'm using here. I'm just making some vague shapes. And I'm gonna wait for it to dry, and then I'm gonna see what it needs, what I need to add. You live in Florida? So exact opposite, and you don't like it there. Aw. Eugene, Oregon. I lived in the Pacific Northwest for, I want to say like 4 winters, and I count the years in winters because the winters are long there, and they're definitely much longer than Florida winters. It's definitely something you get used to, but you know what, it is really neat. Like wildflowers are always blooming because there's tons of water, just tons of water. And I mean, like, is it called the Multnomah Rainforest? Between Portland and the coast is a flippin' rainforest. And there's a Discovery like science museum out there that you can visit. God. Oh, buddy. Hold on to your pants. It's a lot of rain. The West Coast is a beautiful place. It's unlike anywhere else. But tell you what, if you ever find yourself in the Pacific Northwest, you definitely need to take a vitamin D supplement. Because they do go long amounts of time without any sun. And, you know, it's up there on the latitude. The sun is not, the sun that you do get occasionally in between rain or whatever is not out for very long. So like if you go to work anytime during the day, you'll go to work and it's dark, and you'll come out of work and it's dark. And then in between that, it's raining. And I loved it up there. It's beautiful, you know, but I like it a little south better. Florida, it's just like tropical all the time, right? So that's kind of weird. Yeah, when you first get to the Pacific Northwest, you're like, wow, this is nice. I felt like I was just like in a Tupperware for the years that I was up there. But I tell you what, though, when it does get hot, it's like, whoa, what the heck? And you are just temperature shocked because you're totally not used to it, and it's really humid because there's so much water. I mean, you know, there's a lot of plus sides to there being a lot of water. A lot. And, you know, like water is super cheap. You can take like never-ending showers if your water is even metered at all. You don't even have to have sprinklers in your lawn because your lawn just kind of stays green all the time. And then there's always flowers blooming everywhere. Swampy? Oh, it's swampy. See, I've never been. I just know people that moved there, like, at the beginning of this whole, like, lockdown the country deal. They moved their 4 kids over to Florida just to have, like, a school year or whatever. And all I know is what they've told me about, like, actually living there. Not just, like, the resort scene. In Oregon. More specifically in Portland, Oregon, where I lived for like five-ish years, something like that. I can't remember specifically, but yeah, you can just take never-ending showers. And you kind of want to because it's a nice way to get warm up there. 'Cause it stays cold for oh man, it can be really cold. I remember one Thanksgiving, it was like 5 to 7 degrees for like a week or 2 straight. Cold. No snow. You just get the cold, no snow. Yeah, and in Oregon, the moss. Wow. The moss. Talk about fairies. The moss covering things is really impressive. Kudzu vines. You know, I can't say I'm familiar with kudzu vines. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, here it's pretty cool, and it's diverse. It's very diverse. Like in the area of California I am in, there are lots of microclimates. So you'll get like big sandstone hills with big oak trees and pine trees and that kind of thing, and maybe even open fields with oak trees. But then also I live right next to the redwood forest. I mean, there's just redwood forest kind of everywhere. And then I'm also like half-mile from the beach, so I can enjoy the beach, the redwood forest, and then also those hotter areas with the oak trees and the sandstone and the plains and that kind of thing. Three feet per day? That's scary. Well, yeah, no joke. They can devour things. 3 feet per day is like... That's more yard work than I want to do. For sure. Super scary. Invasive species. Boo! Okay, we're getting a nice rosy glow to everything. But I think we're gonna stop at 3. Until the child is getting restless, we're gonna need to do something. And I have plans to go out, so... Darn! We will finish this up tomorrow, though. And we don't have as far to go as we did today, so it'll definitely get finished. And that'll be nice. With no barn left underneath, it just like eats it. Wow! A barn-shaped plant. Intense. Now that the white is on, I can do like a yellow wash over the white paint and kind of leave some areas a little bit more yellow or a little bit more white, depending on how I feel. And I'm looking at the reference photo, and it seems like the areas in the middle of the highest density flames are more white. I'm gonna have to put this paint in my wet palette also. Yeah, I don't have, do you have any suggestions? I don't have anybody on my radar right this moment. I gotta look over there. We are gonna raid somebody. Oof, right now. And I think, oh man, my leg fell asleep, so it's time. Let me hobble over to my other monitor. Whoa. Okay, what do we got? have a good night, nerdiest. I got Siley Say on my deal right now. There is just a few of us, so if you have any suggestions, they are welcome also. Paint the edge off. That's what that says. Alrighty, yeah, we'll check them out. You guys have a nice day, night, morning, and I'll see you next time. Ooh, body paint, fun. I'll try to check it out. All right, let's go.